And when do we know that we have a particular calling, a particular gift that calls for us to elevate ourselves, to assert some kind of authority or some kind of...
Go to our website, which is HebrewLearningCircles.org. Go to Jewish Resources, scroll down to Parsha Videos, and you'll find the source sheet right there.
We will read the first three Pesukim, 3 verses of the Parsha, where the Izhbitzer is going to focus on the claim that Korah and his accomplices are making. Let me read those. This is we are in the book of Numbers, chapter 16, and the verse of interest. I'm going to read verses 1, 2, 3. The verse of interest specifically is verse 3. Vaikach Korah ben Itzhar, and Korah the son of Itzhar, and it continues to give his whole lineage. We're going to skip that. Now Korah the son of Itzhar, son of Kohath, etc., etc. Vayakumu lifnei Moshe ואנשים מבני ישראל 50 נשיאי עדה קרואי מועד אנשי Shem. They rose up against Moses, together with 250 Israelites, chieftains of the community, chosen in the assembly, men of repute. In verse 3, Va'ikahalu al Moshe ve'al Aharon vayomru alehem Rav lachem Yichol ha'edah kulam kedoshim. Translate that. They combined against Moses and Aaron and said to them, "You have gone too far, for all the community are holy, all of them, and Adonai is in their midst. Umadua titnasu al kahal Adonai. Why then do you raise yourself above the congregation of Adonai?" So on its face, this makes a lot of sense. Let me give just a little bit, remind us a little bit background. Korah and the others are Levites. They're part of the tribe of Levi, or Levi. Same tribe that Aaron and Moses are from. Aaron and Moses, or Aaron specifically, was chosen to be the high priest, and only his descendants are priests. So he and his sons, and the rest of the tribe are dedicated to the high office of tending to the temple, in many other capacities. They're singers, they're caretakers, they take care of the animals, so they do maintenance. In fact, they're traveling in the deserts. The 3 different clans, Kohath, Gershon, and Merari, actually pack the tent of meeting, or the tabernacle as it's called, and they also unpack it and pack it and carry it as the people are wandering through the desert. So let's remember that Korah is part of a tribe of Levi, that has been dedicated, is already in a status that is higher than the rest of the people. And within the tribe of Korah, then Moses and Aaron are elevated above that. And that's actually reflected in the synagogue service, the Torah service in the synagogue, when the first people called to the Torah are people of the family of Cohen. Cohen means priest, and that would be descendants of Aaron, the high priest. The second tier, in terms of status and importance, are the Levites. Anybody with the family name of Levi, Levit, Levine, Levin, etc. And then the rest are, the third person to be called up then would be what we call Israel. So that would be from just from amongst the people. So that's important as a context. Yes, isn't Korah and his accomplices right about that all are equal before God? So he's, first of all, he's saying, they have a point in their complaint. Then he asks, is there a time and a situation when people are justified in being elevated from the crowd? And finally, these are really different angles on the same question. What is the difference between spiritual equality and spiritual hierarchy? So the Izhbitzer quotes the most kind of troubling or core statement in verse 3. Umadua titnasu al kahal Adonai, and why do you elevate yourself above Adonai's congregation, as a godly congregation? Hine ta'anat Korach הייתה שאין שום התנשאות בין ישראל לאחד על חברו, כי בתוכם אדוני. It's clear that Korah is claiming that all Israel are equal. There is no one is elevated above the other because they are the congregation of Adonai, meaning Adonai is amongst them. So what he's saying is that when Adonai is amongst you, when you're a holy congregation, when you're a spiritual people, in that context, no one person is any different, any more, or any less than anybody else. Hainu, she'Hashem yitbarach shochen betoch kulam shaveh b'shaveh. That means that the Holy One, blessed be, resides equally within each person in the congregation. That's beautiful, in fact. If you're somebody who opens yourself up and makes room for God to come in, as the Kotzker said when the Kotzker Rebbe once was asked, where is God? And the Kotzker answered, wherever you let God in. And here, according to the Izhbitzer, that's what Korah is saying. This is, we're all people of God, and we're all, as such, we're all equal. In fact, says the Izhbitzer, he has a good point. The Izhbitzer is not going to bring a midrash or a Gemara. It's in the Talmud, in the Tractate of Ta'anit, page 31. That reinforces what Korah says. And it goes like this: Shela'atid yaseh HaKadosh Baruch Hu machol latzadikim. And by the way, if you, at the very, I copied that Gemara with translation at the bottom of the source sheet here. So if anybody wants to look at it, it's really worth looking at. So in the future, and this is referring to the world to come, after death or after the end of times, God will make machol for the righteous. Now, the word machol is an interesting word because it means a dance, but it also means a circle. So machol typically is the word you would use for a circle dance. And when you read the Midrash, it describes in detail how the righteous in the world to come form a circle around the Holy One, blessed be, and dance around God And the point is that, and God is in the center of the circle. The point is that in a circle, every dot is equal distance from the center. So you can see that the geometry of this scene from the Midrash points to the equality before God. And Izhbitzer continues, Machol hainu be'igul, and machol means it is a circle, it's a circle dance, she'ein shum adam karov yoter mechavero, in which no person is closer to the center than the other person. V'haya to'en she'ata gam ken ukach. And Korah was claiming that this is exactly where they're at in this moment, in the moment where he's challenging Moses and Aaron's authority. He's claiming that this ideal, otherworldly place of, you could say, sort of an ecstatic, high rung of spiritual attainment, where people have completely attained a place where they're fully godly, right? And the metaphor for that place, which is beyond, actually, in the Gemara, it's beyond this life. It's not a place that we experience as we live in the body. And Korah is saying that is true also in this particular moment where he's challenging Moses and Aaron in the desert. Achal zeh amar Shlomo HaMelech. So the Izhbitzer now is going to bring a rebuttal from King Solomon from Proverbs, and he's quoting from Proverbs chapter 20, verse 26. And here's what King Solomon says. Mizareh reshaim melech chacham. So a wise king scatters the wicked. And the commentary, Rashi, says that when the proverb says a wise king, it's a metaphor for the divine, for God. Vayashev alehem ofan. And he saddles them or burdens them with a wheel. So Rashi explains here, and in order to understand this, we need to actually go to the explanation. The ofan is a wheel. It's the same word used in the story of Pharaoh's chariots that are chasing the people of Israel through the split sea. And the Pharaoh's army had chariots and with horses, and they were advantaged in that sense. People of Israel were on foot or maybe with some pack animals. And Pharaoh's army is catching up with them. And according to the story, God makes their wheels, the wheels of the chariot, get stuck in the mud of the Red Sea, and they become sluggish. So the idea here is that to burden somebody with their wheels is just like Pharaoh had a hard or sluggish heart by refusing to let the Israelites go and become free. So too, the wheels of his chariots became burdened or sluggish or became heavy. Their movement became very heavy because of the mud. And that is having a taste of your own medicine, right? Paying a measure by measure. So the Izhbitzer explains, what is the proverb? What does King Solomon say? What's the proverb? How's a proverb or this sentence related to our discussion at hand. It continues. היינו שעל ידי הזר והכתר שניתן להם, היינו כתר הלוויים, ונתן להם התנשאות. So he says, and he does a very interesting linguistic linking here. He says, since God gave the Levites when the Romans had like a branch around their head, I'm forgetting what it's called right now, but that's zel, right? So, and when Proverbs says mezareh reshaim scatters the wicked, it's the same word as zel, as the rith. So here, the Izhbitzer makes that connection, and Korah and his accomplices were Levites, and they had already been given a crown, so to speak, because they were elevated in status above the rest of the tribes, the rest of the people, by becoming dedicated to service in the temple or in the tabernacle. So now, or Moses and Aaron are coming back at them when they are making the claim of equality that has lots of merit. And he says to them, Vayashev alehem ofan, and he gives them a taste of their own medicine by saying, Dahainu shaya meshiv lahem, madua kshnatati lachem itnasut lo ta'antem. Why, when your own tribe was elevated, then you did not complain that there is no elevation amongst the people of Israel? And that's where the Izhbitzer rests his case. The Izhbitzer is bringing two different sources, bringing a Gemara from the tractate of Ta'anit, where God is in the center and all the godly people are equal distance from him. Everybody's equal. And then God is the wise king who scatters the evil and gives them a measure for measure. In other words, here, some people are right and some people are wrong. Some people are evil, some people are righteous, right? And those who are wicked receive a taste. The consequence derives from the nature, from the essence of their mistake or their misdeed. So that is a summary of the Izhbitzer's analysis and wisdom. And the question is, how do we know when is when? How do we know when spiritual equality is the right perspective in a situation? And obviously in the Gemara, the situation is in the world to come. But I want to bring it down to earth, into our world. When do we know that we should humble ourselves and be and level with the people that we're dealing with? And when do we know that we have a particular calling, a particular gift that calls for us to elevate ourselves, to assert some kind of authority or some kind of stature, because that is what's spiritually serving in that moment? I'm going to leave that question open, and let us all be blessed to be able to make that distinction in every day in our lives. Thank you for joining us for this learning, and I hope to see you next week again. Please come back. Shalom.
Hey, thank you, everybody. Again, click subscribe button. Doesn't cost you anything. We really appreciate that. Like to have that extra layer of connection with you. Like and subscribe. Come back.
boiseso ahavo Ayim rabim lo yuklu